Hello, Blessed Star family, and welcome to a new pick a reading. I have to point out that feather, I always ask the feathers if they want to be involved, and how I do it is I drop it above the altar, and if it falls on the altar, then I know it wants to be there. If it doesn't, it'll like fly in another direction. And that one was there, but it was in a different direction, and I moved things around, and long story short, it ended like that. I didn't do anything. So the fairies are here. The fairies are here. Welcome, fairies. I call upon your higher self, my higher self. I call upon our spirit guides, our animal guides, our fae guides. As above, so below. All who need to be here, though. I mean, seriously, whatever is in the greatest and highest good of all of us, you are welcome here, as long as you are here for all of our greatest and highest good, all involved. The messages that are coming through are so strong, so I want to get to it. But this is one of those kind of readings that, you know, it came to me this morning after I woke up. And let me just say something before I start this. And you don't have to stay here, you know what I mean? Like, you can go to your reading if you're drawn to it, you know, you can come back to this or not. But I just have to tell you that ever since the Lionsgate portal, so much has happened. It's been so unbelievable. In real time, it's August 15th. And it's intense. It's really intense. You know, Mercury is going direct, but they're taking their time because we're going faster. So it's like, it's almost like everything feels like, I don't know if you've been feeling, you know, whenever you watch this, it's timeless, but if you've been feeling this energy, this kind of like this something in the air, you know, and I've been hearing for some time from one of my spirit guides, something wicked this way comes. And so it's really, really powerful, that we stay in the highest vibration possible. And we're in a pivotal time right now because we're about to go into eclipse season. And as we're still in the shadow of Mercury retrograde, and we have so many planets that are retrograde, and the energies, I mean, Chiron in retrograde is a very interesting one because everybody looks at things differently. You know, if they're taking it from an emotional standpoint, it feels a little heavier, you know, especially if you're going through the dark night of the soul or some type of shadow, something like that. But if you are going, you know, if you're staying in a high vibration, you're going to look at things differently. Things will feel differently. And so I feel like this Lionsgate portal was so profound and so strong because it gave us more insight into ourselves, into our dreams. And while we're riding the shadow of Mercury going direct, we're going into the shadow of eclipse season. And I feel like this reading is so necessary because the one thing that just naturally helps us to stay in a high vibration is living our best life, is living our dream, is chasing after our dream. And I think a lot of people over time, our dreams change, they evolve, they grow, they expand as our spiritual mission is doing the same. So a lot of times I say to the tribe, you know, and this was given to me many moons ago from Spirit, was, you know, when you don't know what you want, think about when you were a child. Around 8 years old is when you're in the dreamer state, but you haven't lost that beautiful innocence yet, you know, unless of course you come from a really rough background, which a lot of light workers do, because, you know, we want to experience, I'm sorry, I'm having this like, you know, when you're like, I should have stretched before this. I stretched a little, but I didn't stretch that much. And maybe this is a message for all of us to stretch, be in our bodies. Thank you, Spirit. That's why they want us to be in our bodies. And that segues into what I was saying about over the many days of the Lionsgate portal. Each day I felt like I was getting weaker in some ways and stronger in others. And it was really powerful. And it gave me so much insight. And then I realized over the last few days that I started meditating again. You know, when I wake up in the morning, you know, I kind of stopped doing that. And I don't even know when or how. It's like, because I'm talking to Spirit all day long and I'm doing stuff. So, but I realize now that I've done it a few days in a row that I'm really cherishing that time right when I wake up. And for some of you, if you have to take care of others, I'm hearing from Spirit, then, if you're waking up at, 6 o'clock in the morning, I know it may be rough, but 5:50, that 10 minutes, it's just for you. And you put your phone on snooze for 10 minutes, maybe you fall back asleep, but either way, you're having an intention of getting grounded for the day, getting connected with Spirit for the day. And I'm telling you, it's like all of a sudden I have so much clarity right when I wake up, right? Because you're fresh. But if you wake up and you're like, oh my alarm went off, okay kids, we gotta get, you know what I mean? Or just yourself, you're like, fuck, I gotta get in the shower, that kind of like, that's the energy that started a lot of this debacle of the like descent of humankind, and pulling out of the third dimensional energy. I was having this moment with Spirit where I was like, so many things have been coming to me, but the number one thing has been dreams. Meaning like, what do you want to do? I was told when I was growing up, if I didn't make it, quote unquote, I loved acting and singing and performing and dancing. And they were like, if you don't make it by this age, you're never going to make it. And I took a lot of that in. And now I'm so grateful of like the Susan Boyles of the world who, showed that age is just a number and that our talents don't die. Our dreams don't die. What's your dream? Everybody's got a dream. What's your dream? We take that one from Pretty Woman a lot because it's true. And it's awesome because if you've ever seen the movie, at the beginning of the movie, he says that. And at the end of the movie, he says that, right? Where he's like, it's not, here, it's like, she didn't want to be that. She went there for dreams and high hopes and she wanted to have a better life. That's not the dream she was looking for, right? And a lot of you, if you don't know this, do the research on Pretty Woman. It's really fascinating. The original script was not the fairy tale movie that it was made into. It was actually a really, really dark movie, like really dark, like with addiction and like her getting beat up. And like at the end of the original movie, he like throws her like out of the limousine. Like, just like fucking really dark. And nobody wanted it. And Gary Marshall, like somehow came across Gary Marshall's desk and they're like, I don't know if it was his friend or somebody, or maybe it was his partner, was like, there's something about this story, I feel like there's something in this story, but I feel like we can do something with it. And Gary Marshall got the idea. I don't know if it was just him, but this is what I've read and things that I've picked up, that he turned it into like a modern day fairy tale, because at that time, we were in a dissension, of like rough streets in the cities and, people, selling their bodies, even though they don't want to. Like, they're sex workers. And I don't want to say hooker, but like there's sex workers and then they're, you know what I mean? A sex worker is somebody who's choosing to do that. That's part of their, path, and their purpose is to help people heal through that trauma through many years. And, those are true sex workers, and I've met them and they're phenomenal. And then there are people who are doing it literally for the money, and it's soul crushing and it's horrible. And I've watched it all. I've seen it. I've had friends, and I remember my one friend, I'm like, I wish I had all the money in the world so I could just give it to you. Because how she had to get so fucked up to like even work, and you know what I mean? And it just broke my heart. And she was a dancer, but even that, it was like, they're like, I don't want to go full nude. I don't really, but in the place where we lived, it was legal and it was really difficult for them. But in the end, it ended up empowering them. And you know what I mean? Like, it was all meant to be, but I have seen people and suicides and things like that where people start to get into this, I'm not good enough, I'm not, and so Spirit is trying to help us to get out of this old programming, and also that one life choice serves all, right? Like I said, I've been blessed to know sex workers, work with sex workers. I had a male sex worker who really helped me. He helped me heal so much trauma, rape trauma, and just like date rape trauma, and like all these things that I didn't even realize that I was suffering from. So it's really powerful. And I feel like at this time, Spirit wants us to not look at life like that, like it's got to go from one extreme to the other. You know, it's about honing in on who we are and our dreams and where we are right now and where it stands today. So with that being said, one of our beautiful tribe members, Allie, she gifted me this awesome book many, many moons ago. It's a tarot spread book, and it has 122 layouts. And when I was in meditation right after I woke up, I kept seeing the number 52, and then I saw that book, and I hadn't seen it in so long that I was like, I didn't remember if they were numbered, you know. But I heard 52, and then I saw page, and so I thought, okay, well, I'll go to page 52, and if it doesn't feel right, I'll go to that. And oh my gosh, I went to page 52, and it was so perfect because the title of the reading is called The Big Dream. What is the greatest dream or desire you have at this time? I mean, so... And also, I feel like we're meant to talk about that, because if you feel like you're meant to be a sex worker, there's no shame in that. You hear us, right? Like Spirit and I are talking to you. There's no shame in that. And if you're somebody who's judging somebody else for it, maybe this is like a little message from Spirit to say you do not know what someone's path is. And it's not for you to decide. It's not for you to judge. It's not for you to say, right? This is about you and your dream. Now listen, I don't know how many readings we're going to do, but they're not having me pull the cards out right now, and I don't know what they're going to have me put on the front. But I do feel like I should take a picture. I like to take pictures when I'm, you know, just in case that's going to be the cover. I have no idea at this moment. They're having me do everything organically. So when I pull the card for you, it's going to be the first time. The only thing I can tell you is I'm very excited that one of our other tribe members, Zoe, blessed us with the Osho Zen Tarot deck. And since she sent it to me, I don't know, months ago now, many moons, I have not even like played with it. I mean, it's bizarre. It's I love when I get new decks, you know what I mean? But it was waiting for this moment at this time, at this place, in this space. So I'm very excited to share that with you. And we're also going to be using the Fairy Tarot. And I have this notebook that has all these fancy schmancy like things on them. And it's a lot of my journaling or messages that Spirit had me, you know, I just did automatic writing. So there's going to be some awesome messages in one of my old journals as well. Journal, notebook, I'm not even really sure. I will say this though, it's really interesting that the one thing sticking out is it was a birthday card from my beloved. And so it was the first and only card he's ever bought me, and he always makes my cards. Oh no, down was 1310, and then 1311, and then well, and then I saw my birthday 1213, and then 1313. But anyway, it says to my wife, and it's a beautiful birthday card, and it's really, really special. So I feel like that is like a channeling message to somebody. Maybe there's something going on there, because you know, a lot of times people just think that people who watch these readings are, you know, quote unquote women, but we have so many beautiful, we have so many, I mean, there's so many different, like, quote, I just call us creatures. We're just different creatures. And some of us, you know, may live in this body, but our minds and our souls are of this energy. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but it was a birthday card to my wife. So maybe this is like a wink, wink to somebody that you're on the right track if you weren't sure if there are going to be any messages in here for you. And then also there's a homemade birthday card from Allie, which is really interesting, that came with this tarot spread book. So, and it looks like there's roses on the back, but it's interesting because I see fall. So I don't know who these messages are for, but whenever they have me do a little channeling for the tribe, I take that seriously. And then also on the back of the card that he gave me is a Hallmark card, and it says Expressions. It's from the Expressions series. So interesting that we're talking about dreams and, like, you know, and I feel like Spirit's saying for some of you, it may not be the dream that you used to have. And they're saying, don't judge it. Like, let it be what it is. If you have a dream right now that is maybe so off the cuff, so, oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys saw that, but this energy just like went through the screen. Okay, that I felt it through my body. whatever is meant to be. Also, I feel like somebody, maybe you lost your husband or your wife or your significant other, your partner. Earlier today, siren went by and my heart stopped for a minute because it's like, I don't know why, I was just like, oh my gosh. And I was like, is Older okay? You know, my partner. And they're like, yeah, he's fine. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, cool. So just now when I saw the card, I'm like, okay, what are you saying? You know, so I feel like maybe they're giving me the breadcrumbs that this is somebody that maybe when they passed, they didn't, like, either you were fighting or something happened, but I feel like they just want you to know that they're okay. And the only reason why they're not having me go to say this when we go into the readings is because it is very different. So I will put in the timestamps, you know, like there is some channeling if you're looking for some messages. But I'm hearing for some of you, the closure is here. And I want to say, I first saw Greg and then I saw Rob. So, a lot of magic is happening right now. So much magic. Okay. A lot of messages are coming through. I'm seeing like a farmer's market, and it's interesting because I had a dream or an experience when I was sleeping. Maybe I was astral traveling, but I had said something where I said Gary, and they're like, no, it's Greg, because we have this guy that we get our lavender supply from. And I've been putting links to it on the, you know, on readings for Seabasket Farm in Squim. And it was so bizarre. So maybe that means something to you too. It could be names, it could be energy, it could be the area. But I'm just hearing like whoever this person is, they're like saying that they love you and you're going to be okay. I feel like this happened like 2 years ago or 2 months ago, or I don't think it was 2 days ago or 2 hours ago, but it could be. But I feel like this message is for somebody. And when I looked down, it was 1701. And because it was 17 semicolon and 1, that's number 17 may be significant to you. Or it could also be when you add 7 and 1 together, it's the number 8. 8 is infinity, meaning like they'll always be with you. And 1 is about new beginnings. And they want you to have a new beginning. I feel like whoever this is, could have even been 20 years ago. Like maybe you were, I just feel like you guys were young, and the whole time this felt young. And then just now my throat chakra started to get tight. And I feel like there's somebody here who like maybe they died like 20 years ago and you still haven't like kissed another person, nothing, because you're just like, I will never love again. And they're like, you will, and they're coming. So keep your eyes wide open. I saw the feather, my eyes went to the feather, and whatever color feather means something to you, you know, I'm not even going to say, because everybody has different associations with different feathers, you know, whether it's from black to crow or white from a, you know, a dove or something, you know, but whatever it is, I just feel like spirit is saying that, I feel like the dove's significant too. Like it's just love. They're just sending you love and they love you, and they didn't mean to hop on and hijack this reading, but they wanted me to come in because it's really important. This could be someone's mom even. This could be someone's grandmother. I don't know. It's coming through really strong, and I was going from prepping for this reading to that, and I've always said if it's meant to come through, it's meant to come through, and channeling is part of what I do. So drink some water, and let's see if we have any more messages from this person. And I feel like whoever this person is, they're also your guide, and they're here because there's something you did when they were alive. Now, this could even feel like a grandfather energy. There's like, so before we get into this, I feel like these channelings are coming through for some of you who you're having a hard time believing that like you're that important, or that this thing is real, or you know what I mean? So we'll get into it when we go into the, you know, individual readings. But I feel like for each of you, there's something really magical and powerful that is inside of you. And whoever's coming through, these people who are channeling through, and Greg or Gary, they could also be grandfathers, because he's of a grandfather age, this man that I spoke of. Drink some water. But I feel like he's fine, and it's not him coming through. So yeah, just really powerful that they want you to be open, and it'll probably come through on the reading. But it could also be for some of you, you think you're doing your dream, and maybe you just came here for the group reading and the channeling, and you're like, oh, I don't need that. I know what I'm living my dream, or I'm doing. And they're like, are you doing well though? Are things happening? Like, are you like in a holding pattern? Are you waiting? Is this karma? Like they're kind of, so there's going to be, I feel like for some of you, a lot of your questions are going to be answered. So stay tuned. The readings are coming up. All right, do we have any more messages, Spirit? Do we have any more messages for the group or any more channeling messages before we dive into each reading? Nope, that's it. Okay, you guys, I will see you over at your reading. Also, I understand what Spirit's doing now. So for some of you, if it's in your greatest and highest good, remember that prayer is free. But all of these readings that go out into the world, it's an exchange of energy. So, prayer, thank you. My family is always abundant. Things always, even when we get down to our last few dollars, all of a sudden a job shows up, money shows up in my Venmo, everything always works out. However, I've been really kind of chomping at the bit. I'm getting a lot of international people who want to do readings or want to work with me. And so I do need a lot of stuff. I'm so happy to take secondhand and free and hand-me-downs. I really am. I'm always open to that. But there are some things that I need and I feel like Spirit wants me to change in my life. And so I added more things to my Amazon wish list. And if it's in your wheelhouse and if you'd like to work with me, if you see, something where you're like, hey, this is how much I have. And also you can send me things. I open the floodgates of that where if it's, if you see like a deck that you really want to work with, or you're really connected to, a calendar or, pens. I always tell people, as long as it's organic, as long as it's healthy, you know what I mean? Those kind of things, it's fine. I put in some bedding. I really need new bedding. I just don't know how to explain it, but I don't feel like I want to have like animals on me anymore. It's very interesting. I don't know how to explain it, but I've always, liked goose down and it always felt good to me, but I feel like it's just, I love it and it's beautiful, but I know that they make other things that are just as beautiful. So I found a few really good companies, ones that are doing, sustainable and organic and all that good stuff. And so if it's in your wheelhouse, I even threw a bottle of nail polish in there because I was like, I think I want some pretty toes. So if it feels good, feel free. This is not for me to like, hey, no, it's like, this is my job. This is what I do, and everything will align for me and you. But I just wanted to put that out there because I know some of you have been asking me about it. And as far as I know, Amazon is international, meaning like, if you go on my list, you should be able to send me things. But obviously, if you're in a country where the American dollar is like outside of your reach, or you know what I mean, or whatever, I have Venmo, but I think that it's only for Americans. So either way, they had me fluff up, pun intended, they had me fluff up my Amazon wish list, and then my Venmo's there. So, and prayer is free, but it's good energy, it's good karma. And then every time you do something like that for me, I light a candle for you and I send an abundance prayer your way. So it's like, even though you're sending me a gift, I give you a gift too, and it's really interesting too, because I've had that with some of our people where they're like, I swear every time I send something to you, and you light a candle for me, it's like all of a sudden I come into money. I'm like, good. I'm like, that's the way it's supposed to work. You know what I mean? Like, we're here together. We're working together. So, all right, you guys. Oh, and I look down, it's 2331, which is the number 9. So, I will see you over at your reading. I love you. I love you. I love you. Spirit loves you. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. And I will see you over at your reading. Blessed be. Ahhh. Welcome, reading one. Prepare your ears for a little fairy magic. All I can tell you is when I started putting this together, I felt a lot of child energy. I just heard inner child trauma. Interesting. Okay, so before we get into the cards, let's see if Spirit has any channeled messages that want to come through. They're saying not yet. I am hearing a Ted or a Todd. They could be spirit guides. They could be somebody that you know. It could be a crossed over loved one. I heard Elizabeth. Ooh, I heard Elizabeth, and then I heard Elizabeth Warren. That's interesting. Oh, did you guys want to be a politician, or did you want to like help people? Because I kind of like, that's the vibe I got. That's so interesting. And I thought for sure that we'd go into the Osho Zen Tarot first. because if you didn't watch the intro, let me read it again. So this particular reading, this pick a card, is the big dream. What is the greatest dream or desire you have at this time? So this is so interesting. Okay, so it could be that some of you are thinking about running for office, or you want to help locally. I just heard, if you're not ready to get, into like as far as Elizabeth Warren, right? And for those of you, if you're not familiar, she is a senator. She is an American senator. I do not remember which state she's from, and you think I know, but it's not about that right now. But basically, just to let you know, they're like a powerhouse, like like Bernie Sanders, like, just like fighting. Also, I just got this like really weird energy that some of you, at least one of you, are dealing with a fear-based energy, like that someone is like, I feel like someone's coming for you, or you feel that way. Like, I feel like you feel like, or like if you went and did something like that you'd get laughed at, or because I just get this vibe of, it's interesting. I keep feeling like this looking over my shoulder. It could be for some of you as well, which is interesting. I don't normally do this, but I'm kind of fixing my bed a little bit because I'm doing this at the end of it. I have a day bed. I live in a tiny home. And I said, I'm going to pause it. And they're like, no, because I feel like maybe for some of you, I'm getting the vibe that you're feeling a little frozen, like you can't do more than one thing at once. And also Spirit wants me to bring up Carl Jung. Carl Jung was really powerful in trying to get people to understand empaths and what they are and what they do after he had studied them for a really long time. And so I feel like you guys are empaths, and you have a lot of fears about what you can and can't handle. And Spirit is trying to tell you that you can handle it. You can absolutely positively handle it, but you're going to have to kind of, I'm hearing Rocky like, da, 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 right? Like, I can tell you from personal experience, it's taken me so many years to like stop feeding into the victim or stop hiding. I mean, even now, I'm not technically hiding. It's just that my energy is being reserved, right? So like when I go out into nature, or I go to the grocery store, or, I bring the light everywhere I go. And I have interesting conversations with all types of people. And I feel like right now, the reason why this is, listen, we haven't even pulled cards yet. So this may just be for one person in this reading. So hang in there, right? I always say, right, if it's not your message, just let it, it's there for somebody. And if it's not yours, don't make it your message, right? So if it feels right, you'll know. And getting close to our intuition and our sensitive side, our empathic side, is super important. I mean, it's taken me years, and maybe for some of you, you may have to do what I had to do. I had to pull away from my friends and family that I knew for most of my life. Even in the last year, my husband and I, we've been separated, and we're both medicine people, like we're both light workers, but we had to like go off on our own while we're dealing with our own stuff. It's been a really intense year, and so many readers and light workers that I, follow on YouTube or that I know personally have lost significant animals in their lives, their familiars. And it was interesting because I saw something, because Yona Hinton lost Nanook, and, all of us, if you are a fan of Yona, Nanook, and I don't even want to get into all that right now because I'm going to start crying. I feel like Nanook was my dog in another life. That's why I can't, like, I have a really, and she and I have had conversations about it. Like, I feel really blessed to have had a lot of conversations with her over the years, Yona, even if it's just through messages, What really surprised me is a few times was we would like go back and forth for a minute, you know what I mean? It just was timing. We were both meant to be there for that time. And so it's such a blessing to know all these light workers, we're not alone. When I lost Baba 6 months ago, it was like one of the worst times of my life. But somebody wrote today, I was drawn to look at something from hers again, and somebody said, the most beautiful thing about Nanook. And they said, you know, they're only with you until you don't need them anymore. And it was just, and those who follow Yona know, like, she's been building her career for a long time. She's an amazing artist, and just all the things that she's brought to the world with her magic. And Nanook was by her side. I mean, she has a cat too, but she hardly ever even talks about the cat or shows the cat. It was like, it was really, you know, because she knew, like, Nanook was so important to all of us, this really powerful magical dog. And this last few years, she's been building her own store and getting her basically her empire together. And I remember when Bubba was sick, and I was like, Bubba, you're not even that old. Like, she was in like really good health. It was weird. It was like one minute she was healthy, and the next minute she just started to decline. And I'm like, what is fucking happening? I was like, what is going on? And, you know, and she kept saying, I can't go where you're going. And I'd say, I don't know what that means. And she's like, you will. And now I understand what she means, is that sometimes, you know, our friends, our family, our animals, our job, our location, our home, our vehicle, they can only take us as far as they're meant to go. Some stay with us for 5 minutes, some stay a lifetime. But even then, the relationship evolves. It has to. We evolve. We're meant to evolve. We're not meant to stay in the same place, right? It's a very old thinking. So I'm hearing for some of you, if politics doesn't feel right to you, then it's about, you know, standing up for like your spiritual side. I'm getting a sharp pain in my heart too. So I feel like for some of you, if you've been having things going on with your heart, it could be ascension symptoms for some of you. And for some of you, it's go check it out, you know, but it also could be, I'm hearing for some of you, at least one person, you have to remember that just because your family has heart, you know, has whatever heart issues or something like that, doesn't necessarily mean that you will. Sometimes we have what they call, you know, that kind of like, and you start to get freaked out, and that phantom pain. Like right now, I'm feeling like a really heavy weight in my chest. And this could be that somebody who crossed over from that. I know my father had heart problems and heart failure, so this could be a message for some of you. Honestly, I knew one of the readings was going to be very father driven. So this could be for some of you the reason why you don't speak out, or it's not even being an empath or being a light worker or a sensitive. It could be a father energy or a father figure who was very strict in your life, or told you, you know, girls, you know, don't matter, or like girls do this, boys do that. I'm hearing this very limited energy, which is why you're having a tough time living your dream, because you've got these little voices from your inner child trauma or your inner child that's like trying to tell you something. Remember that it says the big dream. What is the greatest dream or desire you have at this time? It could also be that maybe some of you were trying to live a dream of your father's, or your father's father, or was like, it was good enough for my father, why can't it be good enough for you? Like, we like to make shoes, we're shoemakers. And you're like, I'm not a shoemaker, Dad, I'm a singer. I love, you make beautiful shoes, Grandpa made beautiful shoes. I'm a singer. You know, it's just like, I feel like there's just this big transformational energy. Also, this was written on my book, and it says the universe will put you back together right in front of the people that broke you. Do you hear that? And for some of you, you've been the Lone Ranger for a long time. My eyes went to the Fairy Tarot. So let's see. And for some of you, maybe you know what it is, but you just need a confirmation. I feel like if you found yourself here, I feel like it's just a confirmation. Okay, these two cards were sticking together. Number 16, life experience. And I'm going to read it over here so I can see what it says. It says, let go of belief systems that no longer work for you. An important life-changing event. A situation that leads to significant opportunities. Number 16. So keep your eye open. You know, I just get this vibe that you may have heard me talk about this, but let's get up that negative energy out of there. Sorry, I should have warned your ears. But I used to talk about that character from Saturday Night Live. If you know, you know. If you don't, it's okay. But it's really interesting because they're like, they're like a self-help guru, and they do this thing where they make the person look in the mirror and say, you are good enough, you are strong enough, and gosh darn it, people like you, you know. And it's really funny when you see people, you know, do it. It's really great. Actually, I just got a vision of the original actor doing it with Kristen Stewart. Is that out there somewhere? Because if not, I feel like they need to do that with Kristen Stewart. And if not, I feel like we need to look for it. But that's really powerful. It's really powerful. And it's also, because this is the fairy tarot, it's not exactly like the regular, you know, or not the regular, but the original Rider-Waite tarot. But it's really cool because you can kind of see from the imagery that it's very similar to the Tower card. And also interesting that it's the number 7, and that could be significant. It could also be when you were 16. It could be something, you know, to do with that. But interesting how the divine masculine is going forward towards the burning, you know, crashing, whatever. And like, it's like the divine feminine's kind of, here, let's get in there. And I feel like the divine feminine's kind of looking back like, I don't know. They're like, yeah, let's go this way. And you're like, I'm not sure. You know, it's very interesting, by the way, though, because I almost feel like, because look at, also, I don't think I've ever noticed this before. Look at how there's a lamb on the left, and it is it 2 lambs or a dog? Do you guys see that? Is it 2 lambs? Wow, I've never noticed that. I've had this deck for years. I have never noticed that. But it's interesting because I saw a dog by the guy, or the divine masculine, and then I saw a lamb to the left. But also I'm seeing like a doorway, and maybe they're trying to, wow, I'm getting so many messages coming at once right now. This is intense. Okay, let me just back up the card for a second. You have another card, but I feel like we're not ready to look at that one yet. Also, I'm seeing that this is coming out in the background, so I feel like the butterfly is significant for you too. I mean, obviously they both have wings, but I feel like maybe the butterfly spirit animal is calling to you, or maybe it's like a wink that you have with a family member or somebody who's crossed over. They're saying that they're here right now. Also work with the lamb spirit medicine and the dog spirit medicine. You know, they're there for a reason. It could be for some of you that you lost a dog, and this is them like talking to you, saying that they're okay. You know, we just were talking about Nanook, how interesting. You know, but I'm feeling this like deep healing energy that will come when you finally like face your fears. And it could be for some of you, like, see how like all around that tower it's like breaking and it's a shit show and it's kind of scary, and it's like the divine feminine's like, no, I don't think we should go, but the divine masculine's like, no, I think we can do it, I think we can do it. What's interesting to me is when I got closer in, oops, I meant to go the other way, but I feel like it wanted a picture. Okay. But when I get closer in, I feel like that key, I feel like it's a keyhole. And I feel like he's like, I know it looks scary, but we need to go in there. So it could even be for some of you that it looks really scary and maybe things are falling apart, but they want you to look at it and see why. Maybe your relationship is falling apart, your job is falling apart, your life is falling apart. You're like, you know, one of our tribe members recently was, when we were on our live on Sundays, they were like, I cannot find a job to save my life. I'm like, that's what happened to me when Spirit was like Spirit gave me 100 chances to like go towards being a medium as a job. And I kept trying to not see it. I was like, no, I am a designer, I am an artist, I'm all these things, but like, I am not that. And they're like, okay, you know, and I never had a hard time finding a job. Never. It was crazy. And I could not find a job. And lo and behold, when I went for my calling, things started to come together. So it could even be that too, that it seems like chaos, but Spirit's like, yeah, but you know, like after the storm, right? I feel like this was meant for the group, but if it could be a sign for you guys as well. Let's put it this way. I wasn't drawn to take it out when I was starting reading one. But they're saying right there, let go of old belief systems that no longer work for you, right? This is an important life-changing event is going to happen, and a situation that leads to significant opportunities. And you know what I saw, you guys? I actually, this time when I read it, I saw a situation that leads to spiritual opportunities. You know, it's that old saying, if you give what you always give, you'll get what you always got. It's the same thing. If you keep going to a fucking job trying to be an accountant, and it's like literally draining your soul out of your body every time you go there, you like hate it, you dread it. You know, I mean, let's put it this way. And if this is you, I'm not saying this to be a dick. I'm just saying, like, I remember one of my aha moments was when I was going to a job that I actually really liked. I did. But I remember that the highlight, it got to the point that the highlight of my day was going to get like this yummy, like hot tea, you know, drink I used to get before I went into work. And I remember thinking how important it was for me to have that, and that I would rather eat like cheap ramen and be able to have that treat every morning, not even realizing like the sugar crash and like all that stuff, like, you know, setting myself up for failure for the day anyway. But it was just interesting how much things started to change for me. And you guys, it's taken me a long time. I'm 53. I have always known I was this. I've always known I was different. I've always known I could see things, feel things, you know, like I've always known that. But over the years, I just tucked it away further and further and further, until I had my like bam in your face awakening that I couldn't look away from. And I feel like this is your bam in your face that you can't look away from. So, you know, for some of you, you are going to have to go into the storm. You're going to have to go into the eye of the storm. But when you're in the eye of it, you have to remember that, you know, if there's a cyclone and, you know, on the outside, it looks fucking scary. If you're in it, it's, you can't even like breathe, or, you know what I mean? Like it's, you know, but when you're in the eye of it, you can see everything. You can see the sky above and it's clear, and you can see everything whipping around in there, like it's going around you. And that's when you become the observer of your life. This card is called life experience. You know, and I learned that even going to college doesn't give you the job that you want. It was the most fucked up thing. And I think it's because I had gone back to college later in life, and I'd had all these life experiences at very important jobs that people would take me more seriously. But you know, they're like, well, you have no experience. And I'm like, how am I supposed to get experience if you don't give me a job? They're like, oh, we can't take that risk. Throat chakra, this is for some of you. Drink some water. Ah, is this hitting home for somebody? Right? It's annoying. It's like an endless loop of craziness, not to mention the nepotism that goes with a lot of these jobs too. So it's like they're setting you up for failure. They're like, you have to pay all this money, and then you have to pay all this money back for an education that you, a lot of times people don't even end up getting a job in. It's the most weird thing. So now that we have YouTube University and we have all these, you know, where people are looking at college different, everything is changing, you know, like I know eventually I'm meant to have a school or a center or somewhere. Like that was one of my dreams that I wasn't sure if that was still meant to be. And then I got all of these signs over the last week where I was like, okay. I'm like, cool, you know? So, and sometimes it takes a life experience for you to, you know, have your dream be realized. And also remember, with that being said, that's why it's said in there, it's, yeah, dream big, but they're saying like, what is your dream now? You want to help people? How do each of you individually like to help people? This is a big, you know, these are massive readings. How do you want to help people? I mean, it started out in a political realm, so maybe that's some of you. And, you know, we're seeing how people who ran for office are like, they want them to shut up. They want them to be quiet in the United States. Right now in real time, with all the crap that's happening in the world, in the United States, it's like, why do you think they're starting with martial law in their, where they are, right? Because they're working from the inside out. It's very interesting, and they're restructuring the United States the way they see it, the way they think it should be. But that's not necessarily what the people want. So a lot of people are speaking up. And if you have something to say, this isn't the time to sit on your laurels. This is the time to speak up. When I looked up, it was 4430, which is also the number 11. So I feel like all of you in this reading one, you're angels, you're light workers. You know, you may identify with earth angel or light worker or both, you know, whatever you identify with, but you are definitely here to help people, and it's going to be individual for each of you. But the butterfly keeps coming to mind. And remember that this is the year of the snake, the year of rebirth, but we are also, you know, next year in real time it's 2025, but next year in 2026, it's a 10 year, right? It's 10, and 10 is about completion, and 1 is about new beginnings. And it's also the year of the horse, which is about freedom. So this is your next card, which I think is so great because we were just talking about the butterfly. And this has a very strong moth energy as well. So it says, trust that there is a reason for everything that happens. Remove yourself from the negative creations, oh my gosh, of others. Oh my gosh, okay, we're gonna get back to that. Remove yourself from the negative emotions of others, focusing on that which frightens or worries you. And I'm hearing reversing that which frightens or worries you, because, you know, this is pyrite. I'm going to put you over here with the, this is the amethyst. I feel like it wants to go there. It's on a tilt. Do you want to be tilted? So that was really powerful because when, sorry, it's like, zoom out, zoom in. I just really have to move this out of the way so you can see it if you want to read it. It feels like it wants to be like that though. So it could be that for some of you, you're just having a really hard time seeing yourself in this beautiful, creative way. And I feel like, oh my gosh, I watched this movie yesterday that I hadn't seen in years. It's free on YouTube right now. And it's called Something Borrowed. And I can't remember all the actors' names, but it's really good. Kate Hudson is in it. And it's really good. And I kind of feel like maybe some of you know the movie, and so there's an analogy there. But in the movie, it's about these two best friends, and you know, the one has always been in the spotlight. She always stole the spotlight. It was really weird because I felt like I was watching a movie about myself, and I didn't mean to steal people's spotlight. But the thing is that sometimes it's like if you're just naturally, you light up a room, like that's, if somebody thinks you're taking their thunder or stealing their thunder or anything like that, like that's on them. You know what I mean? Like, you be who you're meant to be. But on the flip side of that, if you have somebody who, I feel like when I saw that about the creations, right? It says remove yourself, right, from like whoever I feel like there's at least one person, that there's somebody in your life or maybe in your business, because I saw this in a business, that maybe you started a business together and you're both artists and you're actually better than they are, and they know it and you know it, but like you are just so gracious and so loving and so kind, you know, that you don't say anything and they just like walk all over you. And I'm just getting this vibe from spirit, is that that's what they're saying, is like, you know, don't let others walk all over you. Also, I'm hearing, don't tell people about what you're doing, because not everybody's going to be happy for you. And that's such a horrible thought, but it's just fucking true. It's just true. And it has nothing to do with you, right? They're just angry at themselves, or they're not, you know, living their life or doing their dream, or, you know, and so instead of putting, you know, looking at themselves and looking at whatever, they're putting it on you. And, you know, so it could be like whatever and it could be like your dream was whatever, and you're like, yeah, but my dream is this now. You're allowed to evolve and grow your dream. You're allowed to spend thousands of dollars on a dream and then completely like shift directions and go in another direction and live another dream. We are here to experience and get every ounce out of life in this avatar, right? Like while we're here. You know, the one thing is when you leave, you don't want to be like, I wish I'd done that, like no regrets. And I'm getting that from spirit. Like, you know, you don't want to live in that kind of regretful energy. Not that I think that you do. I'm just saying that they're saying like, you don't want that. Nobody wants that. And you don't need to, because you're so powerful. Also, the 5 of summer, I was about to get into the whole thing about, you know, like what they all represent and blah, 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 blah. But they're saying what's really pivotal, what's pivotal about that card is I feel like in real time in the Northern Hemisphere, it's summer. And fives are about change and transformation. So it could even be that for some of you that like this is the summer that you will look back. Like I'm hearing from spirit, if you feed this dream now, this is the summer that you will look back on. And if you're Southern Hemisphere winter, it's the same. We love you. But it's just saying like you will look back on this time and you will cherish it, because it's really about the energy from the Lionsgate portal through eclipse season. And eclipse season, they're trying to get us to stand a little bit stronger in our light so that we can face the shadow and work through it, instead of letting and allowing it to control our dreams and control our manifestations and our wishes. I feel like for some of you, your dreams have been that you've been trying to manifest have been hijacked by another person, or maybe just your own fear, or like we were talking about the father energy, it could be something coming from that as well. And then the last card is the Queen of Spring. Brilliant, loyal, talented, friendly. Yes, like exactly, this is how I see you. So see, this is how the character, and she was really beautiful and soft like this too. I can't think of her name. I love the actress too that plays the character in this movie I'm talking about, Kate Hudson's best friend. Carey Mulligan, I think that's her name. No, it's not Carey Mulligan. Anyway, it doesn't matter right now. But this is how I see you, and whether you're masculine, feminine, whatever you identify with, this is who you are, right? Queen means that you lead from the heart. Spring means that you are emotion. You think about other people. You think, but I feel like whoever this person is, they don't think about you. They don't think about your emotions. They don't, there's this thing that happens in the movie where like Kate Hudson's character is just such a jerk. I'm like, you literally just got done talking about these shitty things, and then you like say something to her about the same thing you just fucking did. And it's like, hello, mirror. Can we say mirror? Mirror much, right? So interesting too that we're in this like spring, like the water energy. It could be that you're there to, mirror somebody else, but for you to see how beautiful and powerful you are. Believe in yourself. Wonderful people want to help you maintain a balance between work and home life. Interesting. I just came across this really funny influencer. I mean, really funny. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't remember their name because it's brand new, but they are a mother. They have, you know what I mean? Don't put anything in your mind saying that you can't do something or it's too much, or spirit's like, it's not, right? Because we put our energy where it's the most important. And if it's important to you and if it's your dream, remember that anything that you are thinking was placed there for a reason. It's your own intuition. It's your own self reminding you how much you love it. Sometimes when I'm singing, I'll start crying, because I love it so much. Like, I feel like it's so much a part of me, and I'll be like, Spirit, why not yet? Or why not, why can't I put my music out yet? Why can't it? They're like, because it's not time. Because right now I'm focusing on my mediumship. I'm focusing on my earth angel duties. That is, I'm working on my job, and I still am working on my music. It's just not time yet. And I know, and I believe, and I have faith. But I tell you what, I had some horrible moments over these shadow Mercury, retrograde and the retrograde season. And when Chiron went retrograde, I was just, man, the wounded healer really came for me. And I was just like, I suck. I'm not worthy. I'm not worth it. Like all these things. It's old programming, and it just wants to get it wants to get out of there. So let it surface. Face it, love it, and say, I'm so sorry that someone told you that you weren't worthy. I'm so sorry that no one told you that you were good enough. I love you. I believe in you. I heard something recently that really resonated, and I want you, if you can, where you are, close your eyes for just a minute. Taking a few deep breaths, even if you can't close your eyes, taken through your nose, out your mouth. In whatever languaging you like. Breathe in white light, healing, loving energy. Breathe out all that no longer serves your greatest and highest good, back into the ether, back into love, back into light. But I heard that, remember that your soul is outside of your avatar, not in it. It's your soul that's leading the avatar. You can't see it. It's an essence. That's why people may have different energy when they see you, feel you, right? You're so powerful, you're so kind, you're so loving. But sometimes, that mirror that you hold up for people isn't always going to be pretty and rosy. Lean into your empathic abilities, lean into your sensitivity, but don't let it rule and make your decisions. Don't allow the emotions to rule and make your decisions. I'm going to see if they want any more. Do we want to do any more? I was going to say, I feel like we're done there, but I did get the vibe that we were going to pull cards from each deck. So let's see if you have any messages from the Osho Tarot. Okay, there's one. There's two. Do we have any more? Okay. So this one flipped up first, but it was in reverse. And this is a new deck to me, so I'm so excited. This was gifted to us by one of our tribe members. So we have this card in reverse. I feel like that song, back it up and reverse it. You know that song? I don't know that. Living my life like it's golden. Is that the one? Number 15, which is also the number 6, conditioning. Interesting that we have 5, and then 6 and 1, 16 is 7, and then this is a 15. So it's like we've got 5 of summer, 16 and 15. And it's almost like I don't know if you guys are getting the numerology here, how powerful this is. So I'm going to let that lie for a minute because I feel like that wants to be there. But conditioning. Yes. It's about practice. And it's like, listen to this. This is really powerful. They're saying you've been in this programming, this conditioning of the negative and the fear and all these things. Are like, but what if you flipped it, right? Like, and your song is living my life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden, right? And start conditioning. They're saying you have to train your brain. You have to, it's like, I heard something recently, and I hear this a lot about, tricking the universe, so to speak, where they're like, the universe only responds to energy. I have to highly disagree with that. And I say that because I know we're all energy and I understand exactly what they're saying, but they also, the energy that we come from has a consciousness, and the consciousness makes decisions and has thoughts. So it's not just energy, right? And you could say that we're all energy, or thoughts are energy, or words are energy. They're forms of currency of energy. Yes. But at the same time, when they're like, if you just keep telling yourself that you're rich, and I think that can be sometimes really off-putting for some people, number one. And also when we are coming off such an instant gratification energy of the third dimensional, that is like what is tethering people still to like the old world, and they're having a hard time coming into new earth, is that kind of mentality. Because I feel like people are like, but I'm saying my manifestations every day. Because yeah, well, for somebody, they may do their manifestations and it comes up instantly, and they're like, do that. But it's like, that's lovely. Like I would never, I love her. I think she's like one of the most magical, great influencers out there. But Maddie B, like, I love her. But I'm like, I remember watching some of their videos and I was like, yeah, that's really powerful. And I'm glad that these things are coming to them, but they have to remember that they're this powerful light worker and they're this beautiful, powerful energy and entity. So they're like, things are going to attract to them. You know what I mean? Not everybody's in that stratosphere, not everybody's in that energy field. So for some people, if they, they're like, look at me, I did that. And then it came. Yes. But some people, they have to go through a lot. Each person's karma, their dharma, their story, it's different. So I'm hearing for spirit, this is a message for at least one person. The conditioning is changing if you change your mindset, you change your mind. And that's exactly true. But it takes some people a short time and it takes some people longer. So they're saying the conditioning is more about doing what you love every day. And that's why they're saying, like, what is your dream now? Like, it could be for some of you, maybe when you were a kid, you had dreams of being a famous author, right? But like, then you went into poverty and you're home free and you're listening to this reading right now and you're like, I don't know, like, I don't, you know what I mean? It's like that, there's always reasons for that kind of stuff. So your dream right now might just be that you need a roof over your head, and that's a pretty beautiful dream. You need clean clothes. You know what I'm saying? No wish is too big. No wish is too small. No dream is too big. No dream is too small. So they're saying, and it could just be that, like, this is where you are now, where you're finding this reading. And I don't know who this is for because I'm getting the chills all over my body. But just know that you are important and you have something to say. And you may feel like, I was getting to, like, is it, I just realized, are these lambs? We have lambs. So lamb is clearly your spirit animal to work with. Holy shit. I mean, I've never used this deck before, ever. Let me see if Spirit wants me to go into the book, because sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, because it's like sometimes just like the little bit of information is enough information for the moment, and I'm not getting anything, and my pendulum like literally disappeared. So that's awesome. But you do have another card. Okay, so let's go to that one. So this was upside down, and I don't know if just the deck was, but we're going to look at it from both sides. Thunderbolt. Ooh, that's powerful. And this is, oh my gosh, number 16. Shut it. That's crazy. That's crazy. That is nutty, cuckoo, crazy. Also, you know what's interesting? I want to show you. I want to pull this out a little bit. Interesting that the pyrite is next to the conditioning and the jade is next to the thunderbolt. And the jade is all about good fortune, right? So I'm pretty sure they do want me to read from the book, but do you want me to read from the book from this one? No? Is this just this and that right now? Do we want to read from the thunderbolt? Because that one I did feel like we wanted to read from the book. So let's go in there and see what they have to say. Wow, reading one, you have a really powerful reading. But you guys are, you know, I mean, this whole tribe, we're not for the weak, the faint of heart. Like, we are not like others. We come from a place that's unlike anything, you know. It's, so the cool thing with this book is it has all these different, so they have the major and the minor arcana, right? Of course. But then they also have like different types of suits. So they have like fire, mastery of action; water, mastery of emotions; clouds, mastery of mind; rainbows, mastery of the physical. So let's see where your cards are. And they also don't all have Roman numerals, which is really cool. So you had two that have Roman numerals. I find that very interesting. They do want me to read this right now in the conditioning. It says, unless you drop your personality, you will not be able to find your individuality. Individuality is given by existence. Personality is imposed by the society. Personality is social convenience. Society can't tolerate individuality because individuality will not follow like a sheep. Individuality has the quality of the lion. The lion moves alone. The lion sleeps tonight. The sheep are always in the crowd, hoping that being in the crowd will feel cozy. Being in the crowd, one feels more protected, secure. If somebody attacks, there is every possibility in a crowd to save yourself, but alone, only the lions move alone. And every one of you is born a lion, but the society goes on conditioning you, programming your mind as a sheep. It gives you a personality, a cozy personality, a nice, very convenient, very obedient personality. Society wants slaves, not people who are absolutely dedicated to freedom. Society wants slaves because all the vested interests want obedience. And they're not having me read the other part, but they are going to have me read this in the Thunderbolt. Now we're moving to the Thunderbolt. Let me get next to that for a second so you can see the cards more. Wow. Reading one. Badass mofos. Okay. What meditation does slowly, a good shout of the master unexpectedly in the situation where the disciple was asking some question? What? I don't understand this. Sometimes these kind of decks are put in another language, or they're, you know, somebody wrote it in another language. I'm going to start with the other side first and see, because sometimes when they do that and they jumble up the words, it's because they want me to start somewhere else. So I'm going to go to the other place and see what this says. It says the card shows a tower. Wait a second. So do you see this person meditating? When I first started this, there was another card. I took a picture of it. I'm going to make a reading from it. And it was called Transformation on the bottom. And it was somebody meditating, but it was a blue card. And I just realized that that was somebody meditating. I feel this fire energy. Also, this is like, it feels like the lion, it's like they've lost their, you know what I mean? Like they look wet and like, what's that old saying? Something put out wet and rode hard or something. Like, I feel like for some of you, you've been fighting for a really long time, like a really, really long time. And And I feel like whatever you were doing, like, got you to where you are. But now I feel like it's time to like shift your energy and shift your focus. I just got the chills. We spoke about this at the beginning of this, and meditation and why it's so important. I've been meditating in the morning again, right when I wake up, and it's just changing it's flipping the script. I'll tell you. So, okay. So it says the card shows a tower being burned, destroyed, and blown apart. I didn't even see that. Do you see the people like inside the person meditating? It's so intense. But also, this is like your second tower card. So something in your life has to change, like something very significant. And if you don't do it, Spirit's going to do it for you. And it's you doing it for you. You know what I mean? Like, I know for me, like I kept getting these signs that we need to do this or that until finally we were like home free. Now I know that was part of it and all that, but it was fucking scary. I mean, I had a tower moment where I was like, holy shit, like where are we going to live? Like me and my partner and our cat, our big Maine Coon, we were living out of a van, you know, and it was really scary. And, it only lasted for a month, and it was funny because looking back on it, I said something like, remember when we went camping that one time, and I said, I wish we had Bubba with us. I think she'd love it. And I was like, I would like to go camping like for a month, like traveling like you, me, and Bubba, you know? And I was like, but we'd have to figure it out because it's summer and whatever. And it's like, we ended up doing that. And I didn't even recognize till later how many things I was like manifesting and putting out into the world and into the universe to have that experience. But like, it's like, remember that sometimes your manifestation or something that you put out, and you know, a prayer, a wish, whatever you want to call it, that you put out into the universe, it's like they're listening. It's not just energy. It's like they're listening, and it's more than just the vibrational energy. It's the intuition. It's the knowing. Yes, it's connected to the energy, but it's for us to get more like connected to like the main energy of the universe. Like we're here in our avatars on earth right now, but we are connected divinely to so many more energy. You know what I mean? Like we're so much more than these like boxes that they said in the last card, right? Like we're not sheep. And there you are, you're like tied, you know, and you're like, I don't want to be tied. The lion's like tied up, and they're like, I don't want to be tied up. I want to be able to go where I want to go and do what I want to do. And Spirit's like, you're the only one that's keeping you there is you. So the tower card, I mean, getting two tower card from two different decks, two tarot decks, is a big fucking huge wake up call. And if you're not familiar with tarot, go look up the tower card. And because it was in reverse and upright, I feel like that there's messages in there, you know, for everybody, for both. So it says a man and a woman are leaping from the tower, not because they want to, but because they have no choice. In the background is a transparent meditating figure representing the witnessing consciousness. You might be feeling pretty shaky right now, as if the earth is rocking beneath your feet. Your sense of security is being challenged, and the natural tendency is to try to hold on to whatever you can. But this inner earthquake is both necessary and tremendously important. If you allow it, you will emerge from the wreckage stronger and more available for new experiences. After the fire, the earth is replenished. After the storm, the air is clear. Try to watch the destruction with detachment, almost as if it were happening to somebody else. Say yes to the process by meeting it halfway. And let me tell you, last night, I couldn't tell if I was dreaming or astral traveling or what I call a subconscious city, where I like work shit out. But either way, I remember now that I was like, there was like a fire and I was trying to get things out. And I remember going through, and like some of my ancestors that crossed over were there, and it was just really intense. So I feel like I dreamt that for a reason, to share that with you. And maybe it's time for you to go through your things and be like,